Bonsoir everyone, welcome to Chacha Paranormal. Tonight I'm more than happy to return to the subject of the Men in Black. It has been far too long. I'm going to tell you new stories, all taken from the same book by Joël Ménard, which from now is my only source of material on the Men in Black in France. Something I truly regret. To top it all off, the stories I'm about to share all took place near Burgundy. Let's go. The first story happened on a night in October 1975, around 1 o'clock in the morning, in a forest near Gray. Lieutenant Noël C. came with another army lieutenant to assist a group of soldiers who had gotten lost deep in the forest during maneuvers in the area. Once the mission was completed, Noël's colleague headed back a few moments before him toward their mairie, parked along a drivable path leading back to the main road. Noël walked alone a few hundred meters behind him. It was pitch black. The lieutenant made his way along the forest trail, thick with bushes on either side, using his flashlight. Suddenly, Noël sensed a presence in the undergrowth. The first explanation that came to mind was that his colleague was playing a stupid prank on him, hiding along the edge of the trail. Shining his flashlight toward what he assumed was his colleague, Noël exclaimed, "Don't be an idiot, I saw you." But it wasn't his colleague illuminated by the beam. It was two legs, encased in some kind of very dark green or black tights. Two legs moving in a deeply unsettling way. They were not walking normally. They were moving in crossed step like a crab. No one walks like that. Noël wanted to know who those strange legs belonged to.
And we do too.
He raised the beam of his flashlight higher, but got no answer to the mystery unfolding before him. He couldn't make out anything above the legs. It was as if above them he were trying to shine his light through a sheet of fog, caught in a car headlights at night. True, he couldn't see who they belonged to. He could still observe the legs. Still moving. They suddenly crossed a path in front of him in a strange, incomprehensible manner. It was as they were gliding above the ground on invisible skis, slipping into the thick bushes without resistance, without getting caught in the dense brambles. As we say in France, like sliding into butter. And just like that, the strange encounter ended. The phenomenon disappeared into the undergrowth. Oddly enough, during the brief moments of this sighting, the lieutenant never once felt in danger. Quite the opposite, without being able to explain it. He had the sensation that this astonishing phenomenon somehow made him understand that he shouldn't worry, that it meant him no harm. Noël rejoined his colleague at the car. He decided it was best to keep the experience to himself. However, he couldn't help asking his colleague if everything was alright. It was. Apparently, his colleague had seen nothing unusual. The night passed. Then the day. That evening, Noël had to stop by his apartment to change before attending a reception at its colonel's house. He lived in Besançon, in a residential tower, at the base of which multiple signs clearly stated that traffic was reserved for residents only. For that reason, Noël was surprised to find a car he did not recognize, parked directly in front of his building's entrance. And not just any car. A large metallic grey American car. Inside were two people he had never seen before. Two people staring at him intensely. In the passenger seat sat an Asian-looking woman, resembling a Cambodian woman, dressed in something like a cassock, with numerous small buttons down the front. But the strangest of the two was the driver, a man so tall that the top of his head nearly touched the roof of the car. A man with a gaze that froze the blood, as if his eyes were nothing but two black holes. The two strangers stared at the lieutenant without moving. The disturbing face-off was brief. because Noel did not linger. He went inside to change. But when he came back out, the strange car was still there. It hadn't moved, and its occupants were still watching him in silence. A feeling of unease overtook the lieutenant. He got into his car, started the engine, and began driving through the small streets of Besançon. It didn't take long for him to realize the large car was following him. Noel began to grow irritated. He decided that at the next red light, he would step out of his car and confront them directly, ask them what they wanted from him. But strangely, at the next red light, he did nothing. He stayed in his seat, calmly sitting there. Later he admitted he could not explain why he hadn't gotten out of the car as planned. It was as if he had been subtly prevented from doing so. Once outside the city, the lieutenant suddenly slammed on his brakes. So his pursuers would have no choice but to overtake him. His plan worked. The grey car passed him. Now it was his turn to follow. But the large car accelerated and accelerated again, far beyond the speed limits. Despite the lieutenant's efforts, the distance between them kept increasing. Then, near a wooden area, the American car vanished in a very strange way, as if it had suddenly reached an unimaginable speed. The next story also involves Noel, but above all, one of his recent friends. We don't know his real name. In the book he is nicknamed Gérard, so Gérard it is. Gérard lives in Burgundy, where he works as a police brigadier. He has a deep passion for his region, a great lover of nature. He spends all his free time exploring the most remote place and depth forests of Burgundy and the surrounding regions, searching for minerals, mushrooms, even snakes and other creepy creatures. Everyone needs a hobby. But above all, Gérard has been interested in UFOs ever since a sighting he experienced in 1954. Truly, unfortunately, we don't have the details here. We are still in 1975. On this Saturday of All Saints' Day, Gérard was walking through a field near Vauchignon in search of critters. Everything was fine until he came across strange footprints on the ground, circular, incomprehensible marks. According to him, they looked like imprints from Camembert cheese boxes, a very French reference. As night fell, Gérard decided to return the following weekend with his friend Noel because he absolutely wanted to show him these strange marks. So on Saturday, November 8th, Noel accompanied him to the site. Barely had they arrived when a strange rustling moved through the bushes. Stunned, the two men saw two strange creatures emerge, seen from behind. Two bipedal beings resembling monkeys with long arms, wearing strange, very dark blue jackets with bulging pockets. Without paying any attention to the men, the two creatures hurried up a very steep slope at an incredible speed. The lieutenant chased after them, but these things moved much faster than he did, much faster than any human especially. Once they reached the top of the slope, the two men saw the strange figures disappear into the vegetation near a small country road. Immediately afterward came the sound of engines, braking and starting again. Noel and Gérard barely had time to see a small blue car driving away, accompanied by a strange white van whose opaque windows were painted white. It's worth noting that one evening the previous year, during the summer holidays, a young Parisian girl riding her bicycle with her cousin in the area had been followed by the same type of white van, one through whose windshield nothing could be seen. Let's return now to the lieutenant's observation. According to him, the strange woman seen in the car below his building had Cambodian features and appeared to be dressed like a priest. The most surprising part is yet to come. Similar women have been seen on several occasions by different witnesses. For example, a local winemaker from the region claimed to have seen the same woman, quote, "the Cambodian woman dressed like a priest." Or Claude, a young man who was walking one beautiful day with his girlfriend in a very wild and remote corner of Burgundy, far from any road accessible by car or even bicycle, yet on a vegetation-covered path. The young couple suddenly saw a large black American car parked there. How it had managed to get there was already a mystery in itself. Standing beside the car was a rather small woman with Cambodian features, dressed in a black cassock, adorned with numerous buttons. Her hair wrapped in a kind of turban, but the strangeness did not end there. This woman was in the middle of a conversation with several men dressed in black suits, reminiscent of undertakers. At first glance, the young couple was convinced the woman was in danger, that she was being assaulted by the men in suits. Claude bravely stepped in and asked the lady if everything was all right. He received no answer. Instead, the strange woman immediately slipped into the thick brush, as if she encountered no resistance, as if no branches scuffed her clothing, as if she literally melted into the vegetation. It should also be known that before all this, on the evening of August 2nd, 1974, Claude and his brother had spotted a strange light in the sky while closing the shutters of their parents' house. They had immediately tried to follow the phenomenon by car to observe it more closely, but they ended up being followed themselves by a vehicle driving with full headlights on, tailgating them. Finally, this mysterious woman was reportedly seen a few years later, much farther south, in the region of Draguignan, but we have no further details about that encounter. That's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this topic as much as I did. If that's the case, there will be more, I promise. In the meantime, sweet dreams, and I'll be back soon. Bye.